The most consistent show on television is back again with another beautiful season, which means I once again get to talk about...
What if I wanted to open a restaurant? They're hard, and they're brutal, and they're specific, but I know how to do it. This would be a different kind of restaurant.
What will we call this place?
FX's The Bear. One of the greatest shows on television right now, if not the greatest. What's marketed as a show that realistically illustrates the chaos and calamity that ensues while working in a restaurant kitchen is secretly a hysterical but beautiful character drama that leaves you salivating for more.
Open your mouth.
Yeah?
Good.
Greetings everyone. Drunk Uncle Crackpot's back again to talk about The Bear. A beautiful show that's blossomed into a cultural phenomenon for all the right reasons. The second season was damn near perfect in my eyes, and after witnessing episodes like Fishes and Forks back to back, it's easy to see why. As a whole, The Bear is packed with a number of genuine character moments, and it gets to a point where you stop seeing these fictional characters for what they are, and you start looking at them as if they're real people.
Duh.
Don't duh.
Yeah,
No duh.
Don't buy crazy shit and then use it once, Carm. It's so wasteful. Duh.
Bought Super Soaker.
Richie, idiot, Richie.
Outside of its characters, I also love The Bear's cinematography, regularly using a number of different close-ups and extreme close-ups, while also incorporating a handful of quick cuts that visually benefit the storytelling. The first episode of Season 3, titled Tomorrow, is a great example of this, and the entire episode feels like we're diving into Carmi's psyche, exploring new and familiar moments that shaped him as a chef. This episode practically recaps the entire show, but it also sets a very specific tone for Season 3, unlike anything we've seen before. Compared to the first two seasons, The Bear Season 3 feels more intimate and reflective, more of a slow burn this time around, and it certainly wasn't what I was expecting. Clearly, I wasn't the only one who felt this way, and the general reaction from audiences is pretty mixed. Some people love it, some people hate it, and some people are reacting like this.
Why are you with me? Why are you with me? Why are you with me? Huh? Get the back to work!
That being said, however, this is still a solid season of television, and there's still a handful of things that I really liked about it. But there's also a few things that kinda irked me this time around. But in order to make my point, we'll be diving into spoiler territory for Season 3, so watch ahead at your own risk.
That's where we're going, dude, because we're good guys.
We are good. See? We're good guys. This is meant to be.
Do you think we're going to heaven?
What religion are we?
The Bear did a lot of unexpected things this season, and one of those things that felt a bit off kilter was the overall tone of the show. More than the previous two seasons, Season 3 almost seems like a parody of itself, and there's times where the vibes of the show don't hit like they used to.
Man, the vibe's weird.
You're such a
I know, sweetheart. Don't be scared.
Does that mean The Bear is terrible now? Absolutely not, but I'd be lying if I said this season wasn't a little underwhelming. Like the title suggests, this season was brutally beautiful in both a good and bad way. For starters, I don't mind celebrity cameos on this show, and Fishes is a terrific example of this, but there's one cameo that completely destroyed my immersion this season.
And his name is John C.
If there's one thing The Bear should avoid in the future, it's shoehorned cameos like this that don't make a lick of sense and only serve to ruin the show's immersion. Josh Hartnett was a fine cameo, but John Cena, get him the out of there. In most cases, you're not supposed to see John Cena, but he sticks out like a hooker in church this season, and his presence feels stupid and unnecessary.
You a photographer or?
Filmmaker, actually.
Oh, what kind of films you make?
Children's birthday parties.
Can you not?
Easy with the shit, guys.
I don't know, can you?
I don't know, can I? 10.
This is so
While I did enjoy the rest of this season, I can't help but feel like not much of anything really happened, and the plot itself didn't move forward as much as I thought it would. Instead, this season focuses more on the details, providing a lot of context with flashbacks, and sets up things to come in Season 4. Although the taste of this season is extremely bittersweet, Season 3 is still an enjoyable course nonetheless. But I'm hopeful that Season 4 will retroactively make this season better, and make us fall in love with The Bear all over again.
Come on. What are you thinking? We have to be organized.
Yes, this is the guy who changes everything every 10
Figure it out.
seconds. What
Talk
the
to your
fuck?
man. Figure it out.
Keep my man out of your mouth.
out.
You're not fully integrated. Don't talk to me until you're integrated, Jag up.
Although the overall tone of this season was a bit jarring, I still liked this shift in style because it felt intentional, and the melodramatic tone of this season seemed justified given what the characters went through at the end of last season. Season 3 opens up with Carmy cleaning up the bear after their grand opening, trying to move on after he hurt the people he loves most. He left Sydney to deal with the rush of their opening night, he called Richie a loser, and he completely destroyed his relationship with Claire.
You think about it?
Not really, just like every day.
Season 3 sees Carmy at his lowest point, becoming someone who buries himself in his work and avoids talking about the things in his life that really matter. Mentally, Carmy's still trapped in the walk-in freezer this season, alienating himself from everyone and focusing on all the wrong things. By focusing on his work at the restaurant, he's using the bear as a catharsis for his pain in a negative way, trying to forget about the people he hurt and the pain he caused at the end of Season 2. Naturally, Carmy's unhealthy way of coping rubs off on the bear and causes a lot of miscommunication and toxicity among him and his staff.
I need you to calm down.
They're going too
I am not asking. You need to calm down. I'm not your babysitter.
Consequently, everyone else seems to be operating on their own wavelength this season and dealing with their own personal demons. Marcus is processing the death of his mom, Richie feels lonely, Sydney's presented with another job opportunity, and Natalie doesn't want to face her mom even though she's having a baby. Then, on top of all that, the bear is faced with yet another review, only this one is more mysterious and looms over everyone like impending danger.
You need to realize it's code red.
Code red.
Code red.
Red, absolutely.
If it wasn't clear enough already, Season 3 paints a very different picture this time around, and it shows us the growing pains of the bear as a fine dining restaurant.
I would work the window, Chucky would rock bags, Mikey rocked the register. Shit was like General Hospital.
I worked in hospital once.
Really?
Many people died.
You're a morbid man.
The third season also has a terrific number of episodes this time around, like Tomorrow, Doors, and Apologies for example, but there's two specific episodes that f***ed me up like this. Starting off with Napkins, an episode revolving around Tina in the days leading up to her becoming a line cook at the Beef. Napkins was a heartbreaking and soul-crushing episode because it mimics the endless struggle and the exhausting days to find a new job, especially at an older age. Napkins culminates with a deflated Tina stumbling into the Beef during its prime, and she's immediately swept up in the manic environment that Michael fostered when he owned the place. This all leads to a heartwarming exchange that builds a lot of character between Tina and Michael. I really appreciate this scene for a lot of reasons, but mainly because it informs Tina's character in the first season, and explains why she felt so threatened by Carmy and Sydney when they first started working at the Beef.
Them kids, they don't know shit. They haven't been through nothing. They don't know real stress. But I'm also like, I would give anything to be one of them motherfuckers.
Dude, so true.
Napkins was a beautiful episode from this season, but there's also another episode that deserves equal amounts of praise, and I'm talking about Ice Chips, an episode where Sugar, aka Natalie, finds support in an unexpected place going into labor.
Call Mom.
Calling Mom.
Ice Chips starts out with some of that hectic and frantic energy that we're used to, but surprisingly slows down and becomes a relatively beautiful episode between an estranged mother and daughter, as they rekindle their relationship. This episode mainly relies on the strength of Abby Elliott and Jamie Lee Curtis, being that Ice Chips is the Bear's most intimate episode yet, and 90% of it unfolds in a hospital room. What's mainly an episode that's generally pretty heartwarming can also be surprisingly funny at times too.
Excessive shaving of pubic hair.
Mom. I'm sorry. I just said yikes.
There's a number of different reasons to love this episode, but it's great because we get to see a more sweet and vulnerable side to Donna, and it's a stark contrast to the first time she appeared in Fishes. Ice Chips not only adds another dimension to her character, but to Natalie's character as well, and I appreciate how refreshing this episode felt. Altogether, Ice Chips and Napkins are a delicious pair of episodes that blur the line between reality and fiction, and they also build a lot of character in places we never expected to see.
I'm jealous as
Like,
oh, shit.
Among the memorable episodes like Napkins and Ice Chips, there were a lot of moments that I enjoyed seeing this season, like when Carmy confronted his heartless mentor, Chef David Fields, and tackled a piece of his emotional pain. In what's expected to be an explosive confrontation, is more like a brutal revelation for Carmy, as his abusive mentor admits that he was purposely being an asshole in order to bring out the best in his pupil. It's a sick and twisted form of encouraging someone, but like they say, pressure makes diamonds, and according to Chef David Fields, Carmy's now an excellent chef because of the abuse he suffered.
You gave me ulcers and panic attacks and nightmares. You know that, right? You understand that?
Yeah, I gave you confidence and leadership and ability. It worked.
I'm stunned right now.
What's also intriguing about this season is seeing Carmy continue the cycle of abuse he suffered as it infects the atmosphere in his restaurant kitchen, and even negatively affects Sydney in a pretty interesting way. All throughout this season, Sydney's being asked to sign a partnership agreement to own a piece of the bear. Then she moves into a new apartment, but is still concerned about her dad's well-being. And then she's even offered another job to run her own restaurant kitchen. Sydney's carrying a substantial amount of weight by the end of this season, and she's at a crossroads, culminating in a panic attack during the final minutes of the season finale. This is actually a really neat detail that parallels Carmy's relationship with Chef David Fields. Only Sydney is on the receiving end of Carmy's negativity, and she develops panic attacks just like he did. There's even a nice shot this season that visually implies this, mirroring a shot of Carmy from Season 2. Given that this season ends on a to be continued title card, I imagine Season 4 will focus on the healing process, and we'll see the bear as a restaurant come together somehow. But, to be honest, I really don't know what to expect from next season. All I know is if I see John Cena again, I'ma start screaming.
Help! Help! Please!
Even though the bear felt much different this season, different doesn't mean bad, and I still enjoyed most of what I've seen from Season 3. Would I put it before the first 2 seasons? Absolutely not. But I'm not gonna sit here and act like Season 3 was terrible either. So far, The Bear as a whole is a terrific series that deserves all the praise it's getting, and I'm intrigued to see where Season 4 goes from here. But I'm even more intrigued to hear what you think about this season. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and comment down below what you're hoping to see next season. Anyway, subscribe, or else I'll haunt you like John Cena haunts my dreams.
早上好，中国！现在我有冰淇淋。